Dana is the CEO and creative branding and marketing strategist, a marketing brand and speaker, retreat host, and movement leader. And she leads her tribe with mission-driven marketing while changing the world, aligning with ethical business leaders and the B Corp movements. And with that, I will turn it over to Dana to tell us what all of that means and does.
So welcome everyone. Thanks so much for coming here, hanging out, and dealing with my bad hair day. There we go. I'm Dana Magnus, and I am very, very passionate about creating balance, creating energy, and just creating a human-to-human engagement along in our businesses. I'm going to share a little bit about my story. Should I share screens now, or are we jumping right into it? Not yet?
Go for it, yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so, all right, everyone can see my screen, thumbs up? Okay, cool. So I'm gonna share with you a little story about what happened to me April of 2019. This was kind of the realization moment when I realized that, oh, wait a second, if we own a business, like, we have to actually have a life outside of our business. Some of you may fall guilty to this, and especially in a global pandemic, we find ourselves working, relaxing, eating, sleeping, existing, trying to figure out what to do with our time all in the same place, all in the same spot. And it can be very, very draining for all of us, which also drains out the energy that goes into our business. I'm not a big, I'm not gonna talk really woo-woo to you guys or anything like that. So when I say energy, I physically just mean like your physical energy, the way that you show up, the way that you're really like exemplifying joy and happiness and just overall enthusiasm for what you're doing, because it's very easy to drone on. So going back to this story, April 2019, I was just moving back from a cross-country move from San Diego, California. My business was completely going through a giant shift because I was so burnt out where I was coming from, moving, packing up an entire house and moving within like 12 days, driving across the country over a couple days and having to kind of go right back into the daily grind. I was pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing for about 4 months straight. And I quickly realized that not only my health was at a very big concern, friends and family, that I moved back to my hometown of Chicago from San Diego. People just stopped inviting me places because they just assumed that I was just so inundated with my business and that I had better things to do all the time. Not trying to be mean or anything. They just knew how much I was invested in spending time in my business. And I quickly started to realize that there's no enjoyment in reaching these 6 figures that I was reaching. It was very clear that to me that the abundance of goal setting was not just for numbers and to just reach a certain money amount. It was more about how I wanted to be, who I wanted to be in my business. And in turn, this created a shift in everything I did. The services that I began to offer, the way that I started to gather my community and talk to my tribe and build up my teams around me. And last but not least, I had so much more fun talking about my business, marketing my business, and the sales followed it. So big lesson here is that when we aren't feeling connected to what we are doing anymore, sometimes it's a great time to just disconnect. And this was a lesson I learned. So who can relate to that, where they feel like, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic, we feel burnt out in so many ways. We've been on Zoom 10 hours a day. I know, Jeff, you told me about that yesterday, maybe more than 10 hours. We lack the physical breaks of literally getting up, going to a coffee shop, getting in our car to drive to a meeting, just, going from a co-working space to our home, or if we go to an office, those physical interruptions and interventions in our day can really cause our bodies to just feel sluggish and want to just eat junk food. The absence of in-person connection. I'm an extrovert, believe it or not. And as you can see in the picture here, I just love being around people. I love hugging them. I love staring into their eye contact. I just love talking and using my hands. And sometimes that lack of physical contact that I am limited to on the screen can be very limiting to the way that I want to show up for myself, my clients, and my business. And then overall, I think that I don't know if you guys have felt that you've been working more because of the pandemic, because now things are so much more efficient. We don't have to get up and go to meetings. So those 20 or 30 minutes of commuting or driving or going anywhere, we schedule that extra meeting, or we get to a little bit more that we can get done in our projects, and we're trying to increase a new offering in our business. So we begin to just start to reinvent and recreate, which sometimes takes up a lot of time. So this burnout is very, very real. And I wanted to talk about this because there are some very big consequences of this burnout. Who in the chat can just share with me a couple things that they feel, if they're interested in sharing, like anything that they're noticing about kind of clues that they're feeling burnt out, or if you're burnt out at all. If you're not, that's great too. But any clues that you feel like, I feel like my business is kind of running in this merry-go-round and never can never get off, right? Short-tempered, okay. Was that with personal clients, everything and above? Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, all the days kind of blend together. Yeah, when we're working nonstop, we don't really have any, breaks, and it feels like it's really mundane. And do we agree that maybe there's also some like lack of creativity? There's lack of innovation. There's lack of feeling like you can deliver something new to clients, especially I see some marketers in here and coaches and consultants. All of us are responsible for our clients to bring them some innovative and amazing ideas and solutions, right? Yeah, yeah, the 2D people. Yeah, so basically, as we can address that there are some very, very important issues that we are feeling like, okay, can this go on any further, right? Like, how are we supposed to show up and grow a business and make it even bigger if we're already kind of feeling like the glass is half full? And I wanted to talk today about the importance of this because as a marketing consultant, as a marketing coach, and as a strategist, I believe that the business owners who get to show up as their true selves in their true element with their full like recharged battery are able to make such a brighter, more impactful difference in the world. And the way I say that is, how many of you too, just a quick show of hands, you can use the little like fun interactive buttons if you want to. Zoom at least has us interact a little bit. But anyone do in person or virtual networking? And sometimes we just look tired, and we totally feel like we can. We're not like truly getting ready. I mean, I'm having a bad hair day, but that's beside the point. So it's kind of like interesting that when we're not feeling completely well rested, our business opportunities actually really diminish. So when we thought that 80 hours per week felt productive, you're probably spending that time because we're just spinning in circles, or we're just drained and we're keep pushing ourselves when we really need a break. And I know that it's totally, let's see what, oh, I know, feeling lonely, Regina. Yeah, that's totally true. And especially when you just don't get to go out and hang out with people, it's like we're just sitting here, and it's hard to brush up that energy. So I totally hear you. So sometimes we think about this overworking concept as well, is that we're sometimes pushing so hard and there's little yield out of it. And this is why I would love to present to you all the solution to all of this in your home without getting on an airplane, is getting energized. And of course, this is me. As you can tell, I love energy. I love feeling good in my business. I love feeling energized and alive. And money doesn't get that way. Money doesn't do that for me. You can't be one of those, you know, if you're like me, you're somebody who just doesn't get that, like, that carrot dangling in front of you, that it's like, well, just, reach that next milestone and do that. I love feeling like I'm being who I really need to be in a business, because to me that feels like so much more fulfilling and I can make a greater impact. So energy really helps me, and I'm going to share with you 4 tips on helping you get more energized with what I call a business vacation. Cue the music, guys. This is the fun part. So I've created this 4 steps to create your own business vacation to help you thrive. And guess what? There's only 120 days left in the entire year. So in 120 days, there is so much that we can do, even if we like kind of forfeit the next 4 or 5. It is perfect timing, Randy, that you invited me onto this show today, because it is Labor Day weekend. We get that extra day to do something great for ourselves, something to recharge our batteries, and most importantly, something that really, an opportunity to just take a pause and a break. So I hope that you all can take this opportunity in this maybe weekend or next weekend or sometime in the near future to plan out what your business vacation looks like. And I'm not talking about an actual, work trip or somewhere that you go to do work. So some people want to think about a business vacation in their own home or outdoors. And so the first step to creating a business vacation is to create an actual escape-like environment. And you'll see this picture of me sitting here on my computer. Great, I'm outside, big deal. Is that really creating a business vacation? Absolutely not. I am talking about, and of course my computer freezes at this time. Okay, putting on your favorite music, eating a really amazing dish that makes you feel alive, getting outside and spending time with friends, doing things that truly make you feel like a human being. And that means sometimes leaving the laptop at home and go somewhere else, even if it's in your backyard or down the street or at a friend's house. Actually escape from work. A little thing that I'm going to share with you is when I was going through that burnout in April last year, I could not leave my laptop. It was almost like a newfound mental challenge for me, to just an emotional challenge. It was so draining that I just felt like the true definition of workaholic. And I lost my identity. I just didn't even know how to spend time outside of work or just out of the space I was in. I had hired a really expensive business coach at that time. And guess what her first lesson was for me? She says, Dana, get away from your business, escape, and run as far as you can away from it for the next 5 days. And I had already had this trip planned, and I was thinking about bringing my laptop to it, but I was actually going to Europe for the first time. And it was perfect timing, of course. And I was like, well, maybe I can work a little bit and I can fill in some things and I can check some email. And she said, do not do that. Actually escape from the work. Because guess what? When we're burning at 2 ends of the candle, and it really just feels like we're nonstop in our zone and we can't get away from the work and the stress and just the demands of working from home, we actually aren't. We think about it, it's like, if I left for like a couple days or for a week, would I be in the same exact space that I am now? Would I still be just as behind? Probably, some of us, right? That those extra 2 days that you can actually completely escape from your phones, laptops, tablets, whatever they are. We can actually get away from them and do the things that make us human without those devices. And when you come back, you're going to find yourself so much more productive and amazing. So does anyone have any ideas? And put in the chat any ideas of what kind of escape-like environment you want. Randy, I know you had inspired me back in the day when we can go to these places called hotels that you actually created a small business retreat with there. So do you want to share a little bit about that? Because that was definitely an escape-like environment.
Yeah, exactly. I had a realization one day that, big companies have board retreats. And so, we would get all the senior people together and put phones in a bowl and actually tackle it. And I thought, well, why should it be any different? Because I'm a one-person business. I should still be able to do that. So, but I didn't want to, do a lot of travel for that. So I booked a hotel that was literally 1.5 miles from my house. It was 6 bus stops and the easiest commute to and from a board retreat ever. And about some of the, I've talked about with myself, some of the things that I think you're going to talk about. So it was an escape environment just at a Hampton Inn down the street.
Did you treat yourself at all with some yummy food and a night out? Room service?
On meals and even a little bit to drink. So
there you go. Oh, that's so cool. Jeff, you talked about going 2.2 miles. What do you mean by that, Jeff? You want to share?
Yeah, Carrie and I, we basically just came downtown. We only lived 2.25 miles from downtown, and just came down and did like what Randy did and stayed at the hotel and left the laptops at home and went out to places that we never seemed to make time to do.
Yeah. And
back to some museums and restaurants, and it was awesome.
Did you feel recharged after that?
I did. The challenge is for me to keep it.
Exactly. Yeah, keep that momentum going. And who's to even tell us that we can't do an escape and like a little ritual every Friday afternoon as we close out our work, and do this more frequently? Because, I feel like when we continuously choose to drain ourselves, whether it's just in personal matters too, if you're not a complete workaholic like I am, if it's other things that drain you from showing up in your business the way that you want to, it really affects all the ways that you are being perceived and your brand. And like, they think of you as the tired mom or the running around, entrepreneur who just can never get organized. And to have that kind of reputation on your brand and then on your, on your image, do you think that people feel that comfortable working with you? Do they feel like they're going to ever be taken care of if you can't take care of yourself? So these are a couple different lessons to think about the importance of why creating this little ritual or a fun activity just to get out and be human and reconnect with who you are and what your goals mean. When you set your goals, why? What are they doing? Are they driving you further away from who you want to be? Because like what I was sharing earlier, I thought that reaching that 6-figure mark was going to make me that ultimate success story. And all it made me was a miserable, grumpy, terrible person. Now, the money follows after you set your goals a little bit differently, which is like, I want to spend every Friday night eating a, seafood delicious pasta dish, or going to the beach and just walking around and enjoying the sunset with a friend. That stuff will help you get to the success that you want. Can you believe we're only on the first one? Okay. So this is the second part, which is expansion. So when you're thinking about creating a business vacation for yourself, think about ways that you can get away from who you are right now to expand into who you want to be. This is a little bit more of journaling, maybe philosophical, maybe just talking with somebody like a coach, a mentor, an accountability partner. And it helps you just to find a way to say, how can I grow through this? What does that look like? What is the next step feel like for me? And how can I imagine what's next so I can start getting really excited about expanding into the next version of myself, the next version in your business? Does anyone ever have the awareness or just recognize, I'm going to use one of Jeff's words, recognize what it feels like to actually know what stage you're in business? So if you said like, hey, day one is stage 1, day 10, or stage 10 is like when I want to retire the business and go off and float to some retired island somewhere. Do you know what stage you're in? Are you aware of where you are today and what that natural next step looks like? So this could be an exercise that you think about when you talk about expansion. And as a marketing strategist, it is so important to know this spot, because so many people want to go right to stage 10 tomorrow. And that's really overwhelming, and that's really stressful, and it really is confusing to find yourself comfortable with mastering the stage that you're in today. So what this looks like in a business vacation is literally just mapping it out, taking some time to journal, getting familiar with what your achievements were, what happened the first couple days of 2020, and how did you get to, you know, September all of a sudden? Like, what happened? And then what do you want to do to finish off the year? Like, what does that look like? So this is kind of like that time to just get more aware of where you are, and then what is next? What's that natural next step? Does that make sense to everyone? Does that feel clear and feel like something that they can do? And anyone have any ideas on how they might think about their experience with expansion as the second E and creating your business vacation? What makes you feel expanded? Is it talking to a mentor? Is it having a coach? Is it reading a bunch of books, self-help books or business help books, whatever it may be? Is there something that you can learn to grow? Is there a program that you signed up for in the beginning of the year that all of a sudden you're like, oh, I took a bunch of notes and I probably should go back and kind of check those notes and revisit that lesson and see, you know, see if I can excel in that skill? Anyone? Journaling, thinking time and journaling. Yes.
Can I throw something in that's easier to say than type?
Yes, Carol, please.
I want to talk, and I think, Dana, something you said means this is going to resonate for you, which is not to let it be dictated by our culture. And I say that as someone who's, my practice is 20 years old, and it is still, I have people who do work for me on a contract basis, but it's still my practice, and I'm the only employee. And our culture kept telling me, well, make it grow, make it bigger. You must make it bigger. Hire people, make it bigger. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to do that. I have an MBA. I'm supposed to make it bigger. And I was like, and then I had to really sit back quietly in here and say, I don't want to.
Good.
And so just want to say that, because I think that our culture really tells us a lot of things that might not be who we are. It's not who I am. And so just, I always feel like that's an easier one to say aloud than type.
Yeah, then type it. No, I love that you shared that, because I definitely wanted to think about this as more of like, how do you get more aligned, right? Maybe it's not expanding up, but it's expanding to do more of what you like, and more of like, okay, I only spend 10 minutes a day reading. I want to spend 2 hours a day reading. That's expansion, right? In your own way, that it's expansion and enjoyment and an alignment. So this really, I love that you shared that, because that is so true. That's really a genuine way to look at this question and say, what feels good to add more of me into this business, into this day-to-day? So thank you so much for sharing that. And I agree. I needed to take away more of the work and be more of me, of more Dana with a personal life and things to do outside of work. Okay. And then energy. Go for a walk, be outside, bring out the color pencils and start drawing. I started to do a drawing class because I'm like, I just need to do something fun. And I actually spend Mondays 2 hours a day drawing, and I don't care if it has anything to do with business. So I'm drawing stars and patterns and fun things, tapping into that other side of your brain that you're not used to because you're so busy doing and not creating. You're so busy doing and following the schedule and not getting lost in time and getting just into a mood, into a groove. This is what really sets up the energy. This is what really fills up you doing something you love. If you love playing basketball, go outside and play basketball for however long you want to go play basketball for. It doesn't matter. There's no time frame. Just have some chunk of your business vacation that you get to be fully expressing you and be creative. Okay. So that I want to leave that up to interpretation as well on what that looks like for you. And then, of course, don't expect much out of the whole entire experience. Don't expect to come up with some epiphany. So the expectation of going on a business vacation should just be about being, getting back to disconnecting from your business to reconnect with what makes you human, what makes you an amazing, amazing leader in what you do, and just be exactly who you are. Because let's face it, and I love that Carol brought that up too. We get so pushed into feeling like we're do. And I think that just having this carved out time to be and enjoy and relax will just completely elevate you on whatever level you're trying to get to just feel more connected to who you are and what you're doing on a daily basis. So, anyone have any questions? I know we're kind of running out of time, but I wanted to share a little thing here, but I wanted to answer any questions first, comments. Anyone want to share?
You know, Dana, I don't have any questions, but I have a comment. I've started carving out an hour today that I just sit and think.
Yeah.
And it has been just so good. And that actually came from Lisa and a power pod that we were doing. And
Ooh.
And I'm really good at doing, which allows me to avoid actually accomplishing. So this has been really good for me.
Doesn't it feel good to just have someone remind you that it's like, it's okay to not have to do it all?
Yes.
It's actually more productive. I know it's like such a contrary thing to say, but it's like, we can't, and that's why I go back to like, we can't be that impact that we want to feel and do for ourselves and for others if we just are in this constant state of that hamster wheel, right? So, however you want to interpret that. Anyone else? Shrey, I haven't heard from you in a while, or Regina, and you want to share anything that came up? Any thoughts, ideas?
The main thing that I have gotten out of this half hour, and I think it's very valuable, and I really appreciate it, is that I can have a one-woman business forever, and I don't have to make it any bigger. I love that.
Carol to the rescue.
And I'm also wondering about what this is that says CEO days, free virtual Monday 2.9.921. But maybe you're going to talk about that.
Yeah, I'll talk about it. I will. Shrey, did you want to add something in here?
So my vacation, like business vacation, is like go for a drive, go for a long drive and listen to songs. That's it.
Ooh, I love that. Music.
That's it. The short, those soft songs and my car. I love that.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that. And I just think that it's so great to like, that we're all sharing and we're giving each other ideas, because sometimes we put it off, right? And we're like, oh, I'll do that driving thing later. I'll take that 40-minute shower or something, or like take that bath or whatever it is. And you forget to like do it because it gets out of sight, out of mind. So if that's all some people got out of it today too, was just visualizing what this could look like for you, I feel like it was already a win. So thank you so much for contributing and sharing. So if you're looking to feel more energized in what you're doing and maybe get back to like the core of being in your business, I invite you to come to what I call the free CEO days. CEO days are held the third Mondays of every single month. And the whole goal and the purpose is for you to kind of get back to reconnecting with what it is that we're doing. Some days we just wake up and go, and then those days turns into weeks, and weeks turns into a month. And every month I want to kind of give you that pause to just stop and work on your business and work on the human side of your business. So what does that mean to set these goals? Why are we setting goals? What's the point? Do goals give us more anxiety? Do they make us feel like we have to? Or are we doing more goals to align us to the closer type of lifestyle we all want, that gives us that time freedom to go and get in our car and just drive and put on music? Like we can afford that. So this is the time that I want to just share with you all. It's completely free. You can go to my website at danamagnus.com, and there's a tab that says CEO Days. You can also find it in the events tab. Just sign up, and I'd love to see you on September 21st to have a full morning of just getting more connected and clear on what each month will look like for you so you can get better aligned with the type of business that you want to lead and share with the rest of the world. And that's about it, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dana. That was amazing, and so much great information from you and from the group. The conversation really helped me too. You know, that point about expansion, I've been going back and forth on one of the tasks that I do that I think I've started to realize I don't enjoy as much. And so if I let myself stop doing that and focus on the areas where I do want to expand, along the lines of what Carol was bringing up as well, and Regina, I don't know, that was a big thing that I'm going to be thinking about.
Love it. Thank you. Yeah. And I love that point, because it's like, because, you know, we think about, you know, one goal, it's not everyone's goal. Sometimes our goal is just to work 1 day a week and just to enjoy and volunteer more. I mean, that's expansion. That's expansion into who we want to be, not what we want to do. Well, thank you all so much. I appreciate your time and going over. If anyone has any questions, you can definitely reach out to me.
Thank you, Dana. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We're so excited to have people here for now that we've started these back, the coffee break. So we're doing another one next week. Look for the information. It's all about bringing the right attitude to your business. I think it'll be a great follow-up to what Dana has taught us. So thank you, everybody.